This is WJOU 90.1 FM Huntsville, serving the Tennessee Valley, a broadcast service of Oakwood University, on the web at wjou.org.
Good afternoon and welcome to Second Chance. Second Chance is a weekly talk show that examines a wide range of social issues and seeks to inspire physical, emotional, social, and spiritual healing, believing that God is a God of second chances, and through faith, all things are possible. Second Chance airs live each week from the beautiful campus of Oakwood University and features real people with real issues and offers real answers. And now, here's your host, Kenneth Anderson.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Second Chance radio program. I'm Kenny Anderson. It's always delighted to be here with you on the broadcast Second Chance. Again, still celebrating 35 and a half years now of being able to come to you from one week to the next, providing information and inspiration. It is still my privilege and my pleasure to do so each week from 2 to 4 p.m. Central Standard Time from Huntsville, Alabama, in association with a very, very wonderful school called Oakwood University. Praise 90.1 FM is the studio. And just this past week, we're still coming down off that natural high from the Oakwood University 2026 Homecoming Weekend celebration. And what a wonderful week of celebration and reunion and investment in this great institution that is celebrating 130 years this year. I am so honored to be an Oakwood College then, University Today graduate, and be able to once again experience the joy of Alumni Weekend. In fact, that was kind of a theme that was going around. People seemed to be really up and inspired and motivated, and there was so much joy among the people who had, in some instances, not been back for a very long time, and other instances are navigating life because of many challenges that they're facing. But their Oakwood family continues to be consistent and show up when we need to. And so it was a wonderful week last week. I got totally immersed in everything that was going on. So I told people, I saw a lot of people that I really appreciated seeing. I'm seeing all the photos on social media. I missed a lot of people that I would love to have seen. And hopefully we'll get an opportunity to connect again very soon. Of course, I want to once again thank everybody who was part of our live remote last weekend from 12 to 5 p.m. from the Vendor Village. So we got to see a lot of people out there, and I talked to a lot of alumni over that 5-hour period. That's my long stretch every year. Once a year, I do a 5-hour broadcast, and it is always rewarding to be able to just catch up with some of my old friends. In fact, as we were sitting there talking, a gentleman named Alfred Rowe passed the staging area from where the radio station was actually holding its telecast. And Alfred and I were freshmen in Cunningham Hall back in 1975. That's a 51-year friendship and relationship. And that's what was happening over the past week. Just an incredible experience. And like I said, I'm still coming down from that natural high. I am now about to go up on a natural high because my first guest today is I'm calling her one of the originals when it comes to these quarterly sessions, because United Way Sunday has been a staple on this broadcast for close to a decade now, I believe. It's been a long time since we've been doing this, Cathy. And I love the fact that not only is she continuing to show up, but she continues to also be consistent in this space as well. Cathy is Community Impact Director for the United Way of Madison County, and it's always a privilege and honor to be able to talk to her. And I know, we're talking about 130 years. You guys are always celebrating big things and big events and big experiences. And so I'm always honored to be in your presence. Cathy, how are you doing this afternoon?
I'm doing really well, Kenny, and a shout out to everybody. Look at these beautiful flowers behind me. I'm a member of the Publix Club, and they gave me those because I've been with them for a couple of years. But that's a piece of springtime we're bringing into the office here at United Way.
Oh, wow. That is beautiful. And that reminds me that there are a lot of people listening at 90.1 FM. There are people that are listening on WJOU.org, but you may want to hop over to YouTube or Facebook for the live stream that's happening right now at Praise 90.1 FM. You can actually see Cathy and I talking. You can see those beautiful flowers that are sitting behind her that just remind me of this time of year. That's a time of rebirth and renewal and just connection and community. And of course, that's why we love talking with Cathy. She's about all of those things. And so, Cathy, it's good to talk to you today. And again, like I said, there's always good stuff going on at the United Way of Madison County. The month of April is Volunteer Appreciation Month. And you and I know that we celebrate volunteers. We know that they are the backbone of organizations, nonprofit and for-profit, and that they are really our unsung heroes across our community. So to know this is a very good thing. Tell us a little bit about this month of appreciating volunteers.
Well, I learned something new, Kenny, because, I'm always about what can I learn new? So in prepping for this show, I learned that there was actually a congressional proclamation that named this National Volunteer Month back in 1974. So we're talking about those 70s when you and I were in school, it's that connection to that time. But it's pretty cool to me that we've been celebrating and set aside something because, like you said, there are people in the trenches that you and I will never know about that have transformed people's lives because of their helping hands and hearts. And so it's just an amazing opportunity to stop and breathe and say thank you. And United Way, we are a small but mighty team. And so we could not do, nor could anyone in the social service sector here in Huntsville, Madison County, do without those precious people that come into us for a season or stick with us for a lifetime and volunteer.
I'm reminded as you're talking, and I certainly don't want to start naming names, but most people or a lot of people will know who you are, or you'll know who they are when I say that we really think about in this space of appreciation and affirmation, the great sacrifices that have been made through many different local organizations that are operating on the ground here in this community. And of course, this show is going all over the air today, nationally. They're internationally listening to the show. Wherever you are, I hope that you'll pause for a moment and just affirm and celebrate the volunteers that you know of, because they are the people that make the difference in our lives. And you talk about this proclamation, Cathy, and I mentioned the fact that they're unsung heroes. Generally talk to me about the United Way's commitment to volunteering and how people over the course of time of United Way's ability to provide services to the community actually provides a way for volunteers to be productive in our community.
So first of all, Kenny, I'll add to what you said. I'm going to encourage all of our listeners, no matter where you are, because I expect that either you are a volunteer or you know someone that is, because about 1 in 5 adults here, maybe 1 in 6 are volunteering, and that's a lovely thing. Go, if they're a hugger like Kenny and I are, go hug them. And if they're not, at least stop for a minute and look them in the eye and say, I appreciate you. And the intentionality, I'll use Kenny's word, the intentionality with which you come for the community, because even if they're not looking for it, our volunteers need to hear that. And so, the first group of volunteers I will always raise up are our board of directors, because Kenny has served there on that. And we don't think of boards as volunteers, but they are. And they bring time and talent and energy and strategy and thought leadership. They bring all kinds of things to us. And I was just thinking about them today because Daniel and the board and the staff have just been through a couple of months ago developing a new strategic plan that we call the game plan. And that represents hundreds of hours, not only of some staff time, but of our volunteers on the board to stand up and go, what does our community need this United Way to be?
Mm.
And thank goodness, probably, 10 or 12 years ago, when the volunteer center that was a standalone nonprofit went out of business, our board said no. We have to have a volunteer portal, a place where people can come when they want to help, because they may not know all the places they could help, and may just never take that step forward because they couldn't find a place.
Mm.
And so that's when we took the volunteer center in-house. And today it stands with two different roles. The director is Stuart Senyard, and I will always brag on Stuart's ability to listen first and find out what a group or an individual wants to do before he just starts throwing things at them. And then he knows who's looking for volunteers in the community, whether it be for a pop-up or one-time event or something more long-term, so he can guide those people in that direction. And he also oversees our online portal, the Volunteer Center, where any nonprofit for free can list their volunteer opportunities. And the Green Team is on there, Big Brothers, Big Sisters, Bird on the Mountain is on there, just a bunch of different United Ways on there. A bunch of places, but we always want folks to know, if you want to help, but you're just stuck, you don't know where to go, then just go to our website, uwmadisoncounty.org, and click on Get Involved, and it'll take you right to a link to the Volunteer Center where you can shop, essentially, to find the right place for you, because not every fit is right for everybody.
You know, Cathy and I are, both of us at this moment, I know we're trying to contain our enthusiasm about what we're talking about. Because we are definitely team, let's volunteer, let's go out and make a difference in the community, let's get people together and get them inspired and motivated and get them plugged in. Cathy and I are extremely excited about the fact, and I'm speaking for her now, but then I want her to speak for herself. We're so excited that this is a community where you don't have to look hard to find an opportunity to volunteer. And not only do you not have to look far, but you don't have to look far for people who are invested in doing that. And just the whole idea that you have a volunteer center, and there's some other operations in town too that support people in that effort, but you have a volunteer center that kind of sits here as a representative element of an organization that's designed to impact people's lives in meaningful ways. I know we're both very proud of that.
Absolutely, we are. And, you know, we have always been a connector in the community and a convener. And so that's another reason that the Volunteer Center fits us. It fits that it's here. Also, we hope that everybody knows that United Way's name means that everybody has a place to belong. And so that is so critical in a time where some people can be on different sides of a fence, or many fences maybe. And you know what? When you go to volunteer with other people, that doesn't make, but a hill of beans difference. Because you might be standing next to a CEO of a company, or you might be standing next to a high school student that's showing you up because they are so excited about being there and helping. And you don't have to know who they are. They're another human being standing there with you, multiplying your efforts and you theirs. And that's one of the reasons that I love that the Volunteer Center is here, and I love volunteers. And you know me, I have we have lovely interns that are volunteers with United Way, and we always want, whether it's an occasional volunteer, an individual, we want, when we touch them, give them some encounter, some opportunity, we want them to leave enriched. And we'll talk a little bit later about the impact of volunteerism on mental health. Maybe we'll go a little bit further on this, but it is just so extraordinary. And then I will tell you something that a very wise man said to me years ago. I was a young professional working for a president of a private company. And I was wringing my hands because I was raising a baby. My husband was traveling all the time. I was working a full-time job. And I was wringing my hands because I didn't have time to volunteer. And Bob Sweat, I will call his name. I will love him till the day I die. Bob said to me, he goes, Cathy, you are doing what you need to do right now. There'll be a season which you can volunteer. And so I want people to know that, one, that we will welcome you whenever you can come, but don't beat yourself up. If you're really busy doing your business and taking care of the things that you need to take care of, because that season will come. If you're an empty nester, if you're not yet connected in a relationship and maybe you're in school, it doesn't take a lot to step in. And we want everybody to step in that can, because we need more hands and hearts. But at the same time, we don't want anybody to come in and feel like they have a ball and chain on their leg because we found a volunteer, and we expect them to stay forever, because your life changes. And we need to be in the midst of finding and recruiting and encouraging and supporting volunteers. We need to remember that. So I say that not only for the people listening who are going, well, I don't know if I have time, kind of thing, and also the recruiters that are volunteers here in the community, because we have to keep that balance.
Yeah, and a part of that balance too is, as you're talking, just reminds me that it works the other way too. We want people to step into this space, but when it's time to step out, because life happens, like you said. And sometimes I've talked to people who felt the burden of having volunteered for something for any length of time, or being maybe the primary volunteer, and then life happens. Maybe it's caregiving, maybe it's some kind of financial challenge that they have, maybe it's illness, whatever it is. It's okay to also step away at the appropriate time. Or if you've been doing something for a long time and your interests shift, check something else out. So I love the flexibility in this whole space, where people have lots of different opportunities to do a lot of different things in this process.
Well, and I would tell you one other thing that I think is really important to this dialogue, this lovely dialogue that we're having, is that people need to be okay with, like you said, with stepping away. And maybe they think of somebody in their circle that might have just been looking, or that they might want to just make an introduction. No promises. But I did that to Mary Ellen Judah when she was serving on our community impact teams. She's the executive director of Neighborhood Concepts. And she volunteered with us in that very important work that United Way does, where we bring the community together to help us determine how best to invest the dollars that we raise for that section of our income that goes for grants. And so I told her, when she got ready to tell me it was time to go, I said, Mary Ellen, you need to have a replacement. And she stepped up and she did. And we have a lovely young woman, Tasha, that works on her team, that has been with us a couple of cycles now. So, that doesn't take much effort, but it does take that intentionality of, okay, I'm stepping away, but I have loved what I've done, and I've loved this organization. So let me see if I can find someone else. And then also, sometimes your voice is all they need to go, I really should do this. That's so it's just as simple as that, I think, just thinking and being considerate of the community and each other when you're going through those transitions.
And I'll say this too. I know that you're involved in so many different ways in our community, not just the United Way. That's part of the driver, but then you're also mindful about other spaces that you either enjoy being a part of or see a opportunity to become an ally or supporter. And this past weekend, of course, this is April the 12th now. This past weekend, there have been a couple of things and activities that happened. And I know there's probably not a whole lot that we could say about what happened, but we can certainly let people know that these kinds of opportunities exist, that these organizations exist, and that one of the best things that people can do is just kind of keep themselves open to the opportunity of just sort of exploring. And that's kind of where I start with people a lot of times, Cathy. I say, okay, you're interested in being involved in a community. Where have you gone? Who have you talked to? What activity, what program have you exposed yourself to? Just try to know a little more something about it before you actually commit to it, because you want to leave yourself open to these opportunities. But they really are everywhere throughout the community.
They are. And I went into the volunteer center and made a list, because I thought that might be meaningful to hear some tangible things. So what Kenny was referring to is that United Way will go out and table at events, and we just are a presence there sharing resources most of the time. And so this past Saturday, we were able to be both at the Volunteer Center Fair for Madison, at the Madison Public Library for Madison Visionary Partners. And they're also a convening group in the city of Madison that often brings volunteers to the table for various things. And then we also were with my dear friends Lorenzo and Sarah Wright with Wright 360 in their Money Talks event. And honestly, those were overlapping events, Kenny. And if I hadn't had volunteers, we couldn't have been in both places. And so you don't think about volunteering to table, but there are people that are experts at going to trade shows and tabling for companies. Well, come do it, in the community, because often nonprofits are so stretched. They don't have enough people to be everywhere where it would be great for them to be. And so that's a good example, but I'm going to look at my list here and just read you a few of the specifics, because this might light a spark with someone who's listening today, whether they're in our immediate area or if they're living somewhere else. Because if there's a United Way in your local community, I'm just saying, go to them first, because even if they don't have a volunteer center, they have connections to know where the need is. And so if you need that kind of guidance, just remember that. But we have reading tutors and reading skill practice buddies, I guess I call them. Big Brothers Big Sisters has been front and center with us, asking for several things, not only mentors, but also just event participants that are helping them with a golf tournament or some other kind of fundraiser they're doing. Grant writers, graphic designers, photographers, web design. Sometimes it's as simple as coming and stuffing envelopes, or, everybody has, I like kind of mindless jobs sometimes where you can just sit down and do something like a robot almost. And then maybe you get a little socialization in when you're doing that. I have to brag on our volunteers from the ARC of Madison County. They come to us regularly when we have a big task, like we got ready for Read Across America Day, and we needed to pack a bag for every guest greeter at every one of 14 sites. I just said, let's have them come in. We gave them what they needed. They packed it. They had the best time. They were so proud because they were contributing to a big day with United Way. And so that was just simple. So that was a group of people that came together that are actually clients of the ARC. And if anybody's looking for volunteer help, they go to Christmas Charities Year Round and sort clothes. They do a lot of different things in the community, and they're workforce development piece that helps those people with disabilities get confidence that they can function in the larger community. That's what that group is. And so it's a win-win situation where they're doing a task that you need, but then also you're giving them value. Every one of us feels when we do something as a volunteer, it is that warm and fuzzy value feeling. We're doing something for our community. And that's healthy for us.
Absolutely. I just can't say enough about the opportunities that exist in our community. And we're actually offering people a conduit this afternoon that they can utilize to go directly to the source if you have these kinds of interests. And I know there are all kinds of people around our community, our fraternities and sororities, our academic institutions, some of our faith communities. I mean, they're interested in doing volunteer work. I know that because they ask me all the time, and I'm sure they ask Cathy as well. So we can direct them to a source that can allow them to gain energy and strength through this process. I know a lot of companies that do volunteer work as a kind of a team building, bonding type of thing. And if you're a company that hasn't thought about considering that, or maybe you're struggling with the idea of saying, well, how do I really get my new folks working with my older folks, and or maybe I'll say my newly hired people with my more seasoned people, and the idea that we have this opportunity to really create something that unites us, and volunteer work does that. And maybe thinking about volunteering in a less mechanical way, like we're going to check a box, but maybe there is an end to the means in the process of doing something like this for your company. So definitely think about that. Cathy, I'm watching the time, and it always runs when we get going. But you got to let us know about the prize patrol, because back in the day, I just knew I was the clearinghouse winner every time that contest came out. And 25, 30 years later, it's never happened. But I know that if United Way has a prize patrol, it is going to be impactful.
It is. And so we will have within the next week or so on the Volunteer Center, another reason to go there, we will have an opportunity to join a year-long committee that is supporting our prize patrol. And all that really is we have two beautiful staff people, Lizzie Creasy and Juanita Gonzalez, who have taken on the fact that we, as United Way, need to step away and be sure we're saying thank you to our donors. So we pick a donor and a individual volunteer once a month, and their names in a big pot. We draw, and there's googly eyes and fun hats and all kinds of fun stuff. If any of you follow us on Facebook, you can see that. And then we pull a name out of the hat. So this group will help us develop that from a seed of an idea. Also help us maybe with some of the deliveries. How much fun could that be? And once we name the winner and we have the prize to take out to him. So that's a new, fresh thing that we're doing in the midst of knowing that we need to be grateful and thank you. And I love when we pull a name out and they've done something that people didn't even know was a volunteer opportunity. So it's also a chance for us to say, hey, if this was fun and exciting for you, maybe you can do this. So that watch for that on the Volunteer Center, because it'll come out as a need or an opportunity on the Volunteer Center. You can click on the button, say, I'm interested, and somebody will be right back in touch with you.
Cathy, that sounds so exciting. And again, it speaks to the innovation and creativity that is in that space with a great group of people that work together well as a team and are having a tremendous impact on our community. And of course, Cathy leads the Community Impact Initiative. There's so much more, folks, that we could talk about this today. She suggested something that I really wanted to get to. Maybe we'll have to do this in the next conversation, Cathy, but the impact of mental health and volunteering, because again, anytime that we're engaged, and this is proven by science, if we're engaged in activities that are outside of ourselves and allows us a chance to sort of filter through our own lives and experiences, opportunities to support others and help them, it actually benefits us. And so I would love to have this, and whether it's the next conversation or somewhere down the line, or an additional conversation, because we don't just have to wait for United Way Sunday. This is so valuable and important. And I know people listening this afternoon have definitely benefited from this process as we've elevated the importance of Volunteer Appreciation Month. And I know that you hope everyone listening this afternoon will take this stuff to heart and move forward and thank their volunteers. You may be an army of one and you have one volunteer. Thank that person. Thank that volunteer in this process. Cathy, how would people reach out to you, chat with you about this, learn more about it, and then give us the contact also for the Volunteer Center?
Oh, good. Okay, so the simplest thing to do is to call our main number, which is 256-536-0745, and ask for Stuart Sinyard. He's the point man, and he's actually working today with a bunch of people that are here volunteering with us to help do people's taxes. They've actually had to be certified to do that, but they're volunteers. But he's always happy to have a conversation with a nonprofit, with an individual, with a group from the community or an organization. We just were talking to a big corporate group that has all kinds of volunteers, but they don't have a tool to organize it. So here's the Volunteer Center to use that. And they can simply, the easiest way to follow, if you always remember UW Madison County, that is everything for us. That's Facebook, that's LinkedIn, that's Instagram, and it's our website, uwmadisoncounty.org. You go to get involved and it's right there, and you go right into that portal and you can shop and find the right place for you.
You guys make it as simple as possible. All we need is for you to take action. Cathy Miller is the Community Impact Director for the United Way of Madison County. She is always a pleasure to have in this space. She, of course, is the co-producer of this segment, and she has been that person ever since. And so we're also going to give her that credit as she volunteers to do this. And I'm appreciative of her and her investment in so many areas of our community on this day as we affirm Volunteer Appreciation Month for the month of April. Cathy, thank you so much for being with me today.
Thank you, Kenny, for having us. And thank you so much for doing this show. You, in some ways, are a volunteer offering this for, 35 years. That's pretty amazing. So thank you very much. I'm practicing what I'm preaching and saying thank you very much for the care with which you pick people that are coming on and the intentional messages that you have for our community.
Thank you so much. And we'll talk to you again soon.
Okay. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye. Cathy Miller kicking things off for us this afternoon on the Second Chance radio broadcast. Good to see her as always. We're going to keep the ball rolling because I see my next guest is in right now. Another one of our quarterly sessions is a session that I have renamed, actually. It's Cadence Bank with Theresa Leslie and Rod McCall, because they are as true blue as it comes when it comes to being on this broadcast. If consistency were two people, that would be Theresa and Rod. And it's always good to have them on the broadcast. Theresa, how are you doing this afternoon?
Hey, Kenny, I am doing great. It's good to be here. How are you?
I'm doing great. You're still on that homecoming vibe that I was on last week. I was just telling Cathy, I'm still kind of winding down from all of that.
It was a lot of fun. It was a blur. It was a lot of people. I enjoyed. I even got me a bunch of swag this time. So
come on now. You can't you can't do homecoming without some swag now. And I made sure I got plenty of it myself. I don't know. I get more swag as I get older. I didn't do a lot of swag when I was younger, but I think the more I appreciate the journey that took me through Oakwood, but then also the fact that I think there's so much nice swag out there right now. I mean, it's kind of like everywhere, and it looks good.
It does. I almost bankrupt myself. I had to stop.
Hey, I know exactly what you mean. I did a similar kind of thing, so I get it. Yeah. Theresa's mortgage loan officer, community development lending department with Cadence Bank, one of my favorite banks in the whole wide world. And she usually comes, like I said, with Rod McCall. But today she's brought a very special guest. Kim Blanding is third vice president of the North Alabama Black Realtist Association. And I always like bringing new people on, but when those new people have to be my friends, then I got to go, what's up?
What's up?
How you doing?
I'm great, Kenny. Thanks for having us.
It's good to have you. Don't freeze up. You're on radio. I mean, you're on radio and TV in a way because of, the live stream, but people aren't going to listen if they don't hear anything.
Oh, am I quiet?
Yes. That's not like you. If Kim Blanding is quiet and she's not smiling, those two measures, if those two things are happening, there's something wrong. Kim, it's good to have you on the broadcast this afternoon. Looking forward to hearing from what you have to share as well. This is the time of year I know Theresa and you and all the people in this particular space of, home ownership and real estate and mortgages and other kinds of things like that, whether it's from the banking perspective or some other perspective, get really excited because this is Fair Housing Month. And every April comes around, gives you and others an opportunity to kind of celebrate what I still call the ultimate American dream, which is home ownership. But there's so many other things that one has to consider along the way. And of course, I think we'll probably talk a little bit less about the current market today. We're basically going to talk a little bit about the general elements of the fair housing movement. And here we are celebrating it once again. And then Kim is going to share some information about some very, very important and exciting activities that are going to be taking place that you want to definitely know about. So we'll give you a chance to get your writing device down right now so we can make sure that we take care of that at the appropriate time. But Theresa, Fair Housing Month, tell me a little bit about that.
Well, I got something first I want to share with you. And I don't know if you know this or not, but February the 1st, Cadence Bank was inherited by Huntington Bank, Huntington National Bank out of Cleveland, Ohio. And so we are now Huntington National Bank. A lot of our customers have already felt the change. It has not been a big shift. They're doing baby steps, which is really nice because this is a big acquire for Huntington National Bank.
Wow.
But you will now start seeing our new logo, Huntington National Bank. Our new signs will go up. June 1st, which is conversion day 1.
Hmm.
And we will be fully integrated into Huntington National Bank. One of the things that Huntington did, which is really, really nice, is they set up a promo for us. So right now we're doing a promo with all buyers. You don't have to be a first-time home buyer. It depends on your program we set you up on. And if you're in a LMIT, low to moderate income track, we are giving a lender credit up to $5,500 towards your closing costs. So this is a promo that's being offered in honorary of the new acquire to Huntington Bank.
Wow.
Now, I won't get salty on this show, but I will get a little salty. I've had a long-term relationship with Cadence Bank, and no one gave me the memo. I missed the memo.
It was a shock to us too, Kenny. It was like Fast and Fury, you know. One day we were told this, I want to say 3 days before it actually happened.
Wow.
See, I got my new laptop today, and it's just slowly integrating. June 1st, you will no longer see Cadence Bank.
That is amazing. So from Bancorp South, which is where I started with this bank, to Cadence Bank, which is pretty exciting. A lot of moving parts. You know, I'm still on that advisory committee that meets twice a year.
Awesome.
And so now it's going to be Huntington Bank.
Huntington National Bank, yes.
They operate in the same footprint. Is this a larger footprint?
Much larger. So now, because see, I'm from Michigan, I can do my Michigan family loans because headquarters is out of Ohio. So we're now Michigan. We're as far west as Denver. We are as far east as north and the Carolinas. Of course, all southeast. So we still have our footprint here, but it really does open up our territories.
Well, you know, I'm happy to hear that too, because our biannual meeting takes place somewhere in one of the cities that they do business. And I'm ready to go to Denver. So it sounds really good to me.
You may get up to the ski resort. Who knows?
Boy, just open up the West for me. I think that's really good.
Yeah.
Man, I'm excited about this. I know it sounds like any change is going to bring challenges, but as long as they're exciting challenges that create new opportunities, I think that's great. So
it's been great.
Say congratulations. It sounds awesome.
It has been great. And so, and you know, every month we collaborate when it comes to Fair Housing Month. We always collaborate with North Alabama Black Realtist Association. I am so honored to have our third VP on here with us. And she's going to just lay out the whole week because we really do get involved in the community. And
let me set this up though first. I'm going to do this. I'm going to let Kim tell us what that organization is. And then I want to step back for a minute and talk about what Fair Housing Month is. And then we'll talk about what's happening in celebration of that. That way we can kind of help people follow along what's going on. So Kim, first of all, tell us about this great organization that you serve as an officer in.
Absolutely. So the North Alabama Black Realtist Association, I've been involved for about 3 years, and they are a primary source of advocating for fair housing. So it gives me an opportunity to do not only what I love in terms of being able to help with real estate customers, but I also get to consider lots of things associated with the organization in terms of they have 5 pillars that include building Black wealth, fair housing. Theresa is way better at talking about that part than I am.
Yeah,
but my involvement is really for the purpose of, as third VP, I'm actually the education committee chair. Mm-hmm. And so I focus on bringing in speakers that will just kind of educate not only the real estate agents that are part of the organization, but there are also people like Theresa who are lenders. There are builders associations that are part of it. And so we get to come up with educational material to be able to meet all of those needs.
Are you a chapter of a national organization?
Absolutely. The National Association of Real Estate Brokers. Mm-hmm. And they were formed back in the 1940s during a time before there was a Fair Housing Act. And they were very instrumental in getting that act passed. Yeah. And so, national organization.
Yeah, I think that's important to know because, again, we're broadcasting today nationally, and there are people in communities across this nation that might go, oh, I didn't know that was happening. Of course, if you're inside the process, you probably know, but some people may not know. And I think it certainly helps the consumer to know this, that an organization like that exists, especially as they move about and navigate this very interesting journey. So back to Theresa now. I noted that, I do my homework too, and if I get ready to talk to folks. So the theme for the 2026 Fair Housing Month, which is the month of April, is the ACT in action. Have you had a chance to examine that and what that means, or just kind of tell me what that means to you?
So let's go back to fair housing. In 1968 is when that act was passed. And basically what it did is it outlawed housing discrimination across different counties. To this date, it still is not, what's the word I can use?
Eliminated?
Playing field is still not leveled. It does not show in our favor. Our numbers are still way behind than other ethnic groups. We are not buying and to be fair about it, generational wealth for African American, Blacks, however you want to categorize yourself, we're way behind than other ethnic groups. Wealth building did not start for us until like my generation, or a little bit the generation before me, whereas other ethnic groups, their grandparents, great-grandparents, great-great-grandparents were passing along wealth down the line. We didn't have those advantages. So we're playing catch up. I don't know that we'll ever catch up, but we're trying. And so, as far as the act goes, trying to make the plan, we're just trying to raise awareness for people to understand. Yeah. There are opportunities out there that you need to cash in on that will make life a little easier for you and your families behind you. Yeah. Is our main goal.
And that's one of the good things about what Theresa does, is because she works with a lot of investors. So it's not only about home ownership, but it is also about investing in real estate, which many of us don't do.
Yeah, and I'm glad that we're acknowledging that, because for me, that's always the elephant in the room. And I'm one of those, I'm as conscious as anybody out there as far as I'm concerned, in terms of my culture, in terms of the journey for Black people here in America. But the long delay that we've had in terms of our ability to really compete at equitable levels, and the fact that so many of those protections that we attempted to operate under for several years through the civil rights struggle and more are now being dismantled and undermined in so many ways. So, more than ever before, we need to acknowledge the fact that the playing field is still not level, that there's still inequities abound, and that those inequities are not isolated. So if we read statistics like 300,000 Black women have lost their jobs in the last couple of years, 500,000 Black men have lost their jobs in the last couple of years. Well, one of the biggest things tied to home ownership is having a job where you can pay the mortgage for the home. And so if you don't have a job, you may not have a home. And if you have a home and don't have a job, you may not have a home. Right. And so there are real social determinants here that one has to consider as it relates to this. And I would imagine, Kim, especially from the education perspective, that a big part of what you're doing is helping people understand the landscape and understand opportunities that might exist out there. So you've got some things coming up, and let's talk about some really specific things that are being planned here, with the idea that people listening can connect in their communities perhaps and find out what's happening there.
Yeah, so to answer your question, a really good place to start there is with April 14th. April 14th, we have a session planned, and it will be at the District 6 office from 12 to 1:30 about heir property and estate planning. Because we find that in our community, there are a lot of people who may have been passed down land, but not being able to use it because of whatever reason, just not knowing how they can gain access, how they can how to keep it in the family. We have a session that we do during Realtist Week called What to Do with Big Mama's House. And those are all very important things in terms of future generations. So that's actually day 3, which starts on Tuesday.
Let me quickly jump
ahead.
in, so I'll let people know that that office is located at 3210 High-Low Circle. For those that are really interested in being a part of this, you may even hear this and say, hey, I need to tell so-and-so about this information. You may say, I can't go, but maybe you want somebody to kind of stand in for you. And I would strongly recommend that all kinds of people who are out there in the community listening, whether you're part of an organization, a faith community, that you take some effort to learn about these things, because even if it's not happening to you now, it may happen to you at some point, or you may be in proximity to someone who actually needs this valuable information. So I love the fact that we can provide these opportunities for learning that people can benefit from. Go ahead, Kim.
Okay, so we also have, it kicked off today, April the 12th, with the day of worship, and that is at the Douglas Tabernacle Primitive Baptist Church. So we worship together, we learn together. The Monday is a membership drive and wellness day. So we're going to be talking about the importance of physical fitness. We need to incorporate that in anything that we do, especially as African Americans, because we don't take it seriously enough.
That's right.
Realtist Day of Service is a day that we're going to be at the Rose of Sharon. That's 723 Arcadia Circle. We'll be helping out with Shower Up on that day. And then day 5 is our Political Action Day, which is on Thursday. We will be partnering with Huntsville City Schools to go and visit the new tech center. We're going to do a tour of that. And also, what we're really excited about, on Thursday evening, we will have a watch party at the HAR building on Monroe Street, 535 Monroe, where we'll be watching the movie The Banker. Are you familiar with that, Kenny?
I am.
Yes. So we love what it says about fair housing. So we'll be watching that.
That's good stuff. I love the diversity of things that are happening, and I love the fact that people can literally get plugged in however they choose to do so. I know it's your hope that people will, because, again, I always think about the spiritual mandate that people will perish for lack of knowledge. If we don't take advantage of these opportunities and plug into them, especially when they are affordable. The price of that is what again?
Free 99.
Thank you. People need to understand, everything has a value. And even when there's no charge to it, it still has a value. Some people write it up, whether I go or not, it doesn't really matter. And my experience has been that I've talked to so many people in life who were missing in action when the meeting took place or the convocation took place. And now they're interested because life is happening. And I just think it's so much easier to go through life with a toolkit that prepares you for what you may not even know is coming down the line, or the opportunities we talked in the previous segment to be of support to someone else. So I'm just excited about all of these things that are going on. What an amazing week, Theresa. Are you excited?
I am. I'm ready.
Yeah. Wow. So from the perspective of this new initiative with the Huntington National Bank, and I'm saying initiative, but you know what I'm saying. Yeah. This what was it called? Was it a buyout? What was it called? I want to use the right word.
Pretty much, yeah. It was a buyout. They
Okay.
They acquired Cadence Bank. So
there was an acquisition. That's the word I was looking for. So there was a bank, a financial institution acquisition, and you all are now Huntington National Bank. What do you personally see for yourself as your personal investment ongoing in the space that you're in? Because I know about a lot of what you've done up to now, and I love the fact that you often tell us about the tools and resources available to make home ownership possible. What is the future for you at this point? More of the same, some other kinds of things?
I'm actually feeling really good about the conversion or the acquire. They really do focus in on us still catering to our low to moderate income areas. They really zoom in on giving back to the communities and doing community development initiatives. They are very big on, because they have this big event coming up in Ohio called Pelotona, where they raise all kinds of money to give back into the communities and feedback. So I'm really feeling good going forward with Huntington National Bank. It seems that the values that they value are very similar to the values that Cadence value, which is giving back, educating, teaching. Those things are high on my radar. We still teach. They want us to. They even give me a little bit more means to do so. And so, so I'm excited about what's coming down the pike. I'm not upset about it at all. So knock on wood, hopefully it'll keep going this way, but it's been really good.
Yeah, no, I'm excited for you. It sounds like a great opportunity.
Yeah.
I can't wait to talk to Penny and get caught up on some things as well. We haven't chatted for a while. In fact, the last advisory board meeting I actually intended to be at, and then I, at the last minute, had a conflict, and so I couldn't make it. And so I'm still part of that board and still very interested in this because it is important to me to know about things that are available to people. And again, like I said, you have so many tools and resources available to people, whether it's a home buyer seminar, whether it's a information about down payment assistance programs. I mean, there's just all kind of stuff out there. Kim, talk to me. How big is your organization? Do you have a number of how many people are involved, and is there room for more?
Oh, absolutely. So our local group has about 60 members, and we are constantly taking in new members all the time. So we always focus on membership every single month. That's one of our focuses. We have social activities. And before I forget, the crowning act of the Realtist Week is the Community Day. And that is actually on the April 18th. Also taking place down at 1429 Calvary at Douglas Tabernacle. We'll have kids activities. We'll have sessions on home buying, credit, insurance, probate, and investing sessions. And it'll also have free food. So more of the free.
You said free what now?
Food. It's from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Being from New York City, of course, I tell people all the time about how funny it was when I came to Huntsville 50 years ago now. And you'd be watching the evening news and they would talk about a neighbor's pig. And that would be the big story that night, and I'm coming from New York where the first 10 to 12 minutes of the news was blood this, blood that, the fire over here, somebody got robbed over there. And, it's like, if it leads, it bleeds in the news, right?
Right.
That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about people coming together for food and fellowship. So if there's food, the people will come.
Exactly.
I always leave the food. In fact, we're planning a health fair on May the 21st. And I know this is unfortunately after your event, but if there's some opportunity, because our health fair is a comprehensive health fair. It's not just, go to the doctor twice a year and the dentist once a year and the eye doctor once a year. And, it's not that. It's like your whole body, it's your whole mind, it's your whole experience in life. It's what are you surrounding yourself with? How are you connected to resources and more? So we think that whole issue of home ownership is a critical part of a family's success in terms of their whole health. And so if there's an interest in being a part of our health fair, it doesn't cost anything. It's May the 21st. I'd be happy to share that information. But I think this is really exciting. Tell people where they would do this for me, Kim. Do you all have a social media presence? Do you have a website or phone number? How would people engage you to find out more about the things you're talking about? Because I think once they find out, they'll want to share.
Sure. We do have a Facebook page, and it is NABRA Huntsville, NABRA Huntsville. If they're interested in more of the history and want to go to the national website, it's NAREB.com. NAREB.com, and even there you can go and find a local, like you talked about people being all over the nation, they can go there and find a local chapter in their area. So Facebook, and we also have a website, which is NABRA-Huntsville-org. Is that right, Theresa?
.org?
No, it's NABRAHuntsville.com. We changed.
.com.
Yeah,
Sorry.
NABRAHuntsville.com.
Spell that for them.
So
NAREB, spell out Huntsville.com.
Yeah.
All right, good. I want to make sure they land where they need to land and get the information that they need to land. Theresa, I said I wasn't going to talk a whole lot about the market right now. Should people still keep their heads up in this market in these economically challenging times?
It is very volatile right now, Kenny. And yes, I don't ever discourage anyone from buying, but I will say, keep your eyes and ears tuned. With what's going on across seas, of course, with the war, it has really affected the rates. I want to say before all of this popped off, we were actually trending down. And now that we are actively involved, rates have jumped. Gas has jumped. Everything has seemed to go up, which is a little odd because normally it does the opposite. But definitely keep your eyes open because I'm hoping that will turn around. But people are still buying. It's still a great time to buy. I never discourage anyone from buying because I feel equity is way better than paying someone else's rent.
Say that again.
Building equity for yourself and putting money in your pocket is a whole lot better than putting it in someone else's.
Absolutely. And by extension, then we start the generational wealth conversation where we're leaving more assets to future generations than liabilities. And we always want to get people on the right side of that as soon as possible. And, for me, a lot of this is strategic intention.
Yes.
So it's like, don't just dive into the pool thinking that it's just water. Just kind of understand what's happening in the process and understand that it can still be possible, but maybe it's not the right time. Maybe because of the time that it's in right now, you could do some things to prepare for that time. There's always something going on. It's not a static process is what I'm getting at. And I think that sometimes people do that. It's like, I'm going to pull the trigger at some point, and it's like the stars are supposed to align in that moment. And it will align for some people because they just can do that. But a lot of people need to approach this with some kind of strategic intention. I know every time you or I come on, that's exactly what you guys talk about.
Right. Yeah. Set yourself up, do your homework, get in front of a loan officer and just talk about it. That way you'll understand what you're about to get into. It won't be so scary for you. You feel more comfortable with it. And in the end, you'll be much happier. You won't feel like I really did draw blood from you or take your firstborn. You have gone through this process and you knew what to expect to coming in. But when you don't do your homework, when you don't get in front of someone, buying a home is nothing like buying a car. It's nothing like buying, opening a credit card. It is a much different and more invasive process. And I'm going to use that word because that really is where it has gone. From the 800 credit scores to the 500 credit scores, the process is the same. So get out, talk about it so that you feel more comfortable knowing what to expect when you go into it.
I'm gonna change this segment to Real Talk with Theresa Leslie and Rob McCall, and occasionally Kim Blanding. We had a great conversation today. Once again, I want to thank Theresa Leslie. She's a mortgage loaner. You still have the same job title?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay.
Community development lender. Yes, sir.
I gotta make sure that mortgage loan officer and community development lending. She's doing a great job out there in the ground. She is an advocate, folks. I'm just telling you. If you want to know about it, call her. Did I give people a chance to call you in Costco like I have in the past?
Yes, sir. And I love it. 256-337-9636. You can call me, you can text me, and I will pick up the phone, even on a Sunday. Yes.
Yeah. Through the magic of technology, we do some interesting things in this space. So occasionally, we announce the phone number and Theresa happens to be somewhere and the phone starts ringing. And so that's always a fun thing.
It is.
And then Kim Blanding is third vice president for the North Alabama Black Realtist Association, NABRA. I love that name, by the way, NABRA. Thank you for being here today, and hopefully you'll join us again sometime in the future.
Absolutely. I love it.
All right, ladies, have a good rest of the day.
Thank you,
All
Kenny.
right, you too.
All right, take care.
All right.
Theresa, Leslie, and Kim Blanding this afternoon, sharing information about April being Fair Housing Month. What a big month indeed, and lots of local things happening. You can check out those web pages, those social media pages, and you can learn as much as you can about the work that they're doing in that space. I'm going to come back in just a moment with more of the broadcast. I'm Kenny Anderson. It's Second Chance, and I hope that you're having a fantastic Sunday, April the 12th.
You're listening to Second Chance with Kenny Anderson.
Welcome back to the broadcast. I hope that you're having, once again, an absolutely fantastic afternoon. It is, of course, it's a beautiful day here in Huntsville, Alabama, actually. And I hope that the beauty that I'm experiencing is reflected in the joy that I truly hope is in your heart on this particular day. We, of course, have a great opportunity to have these quarterly sessions from time to time, and I'm very happy and very honored to be able to bring a group of individuals on at least 4 times a year. And of course, if there are other things going on, there's an opportunity to bring them on at additional times as well. And we continue with that journey this afternoon with a segment that we call Service and Valor with Captain Washington Johnson II. He is here and ready to chat with us this afternoon. Captain Johnson is the director of Adventist Chaplaincy Ministries for the North American Division of Seventh-day Adventists, and we're always delighted and appreciative to have him on the broadcast. Sir, how are you doing this afternoon?
Kenny, I'm doing great, and we're just honored to just be with you on this beautiful day.
Well,
yes.
you were kind of with me last week because of our alumni weekend, even though I didn't see you. I did see a segment of the service in the Von Braun in Probst Arena, and I saw you and your bride there, and so I said, well, they're in town.
Well, I was looking for you.
Look, there was so many people, and that was just an amazing thing to see that energy and enthusiasm. It's in many ways like somebody was saying to me the other day, it's almost like we're back. And I think a lot of people understand what that means. There's a lot of momentum. There are people who are coming back who have not been here for a long time. So it's like this super duper homecoming, a lot of enthusiasm and excitement. Captain Johnson, can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you.
Okay.
We just blinked out for a moment there.
Yeah, well, technology will do that sometimes, but glad that you're here with us on this afternoon.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, retired Captain Jerome Davis. I tell you, we're going to have to give you some kind of a credit on this broadcast other than just a guest, because every time you come into this space, you enrich the space and you leave it better than you found it. And I respect that so much about you. We always have a very vibrant and dynamic and informative conversation whenever you come. And so I'm so happy that you're back with us today. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Hey, Kenny, great to be with you guys. Hope you and your family are doing well. And we're looking forward to our discussion today.
Absolutely.
Oh, yes. I'm excited about it. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to tell you all that Captain Davis is retired now, but he's formerly with the Maritime Administration's Office of Sealift Support under the Office of the Associate Administrator for Strategic Sealift. He retired in 2015, began his career way back when, so many, many years ago, and has had a storied career doing many, many things. And he always, again, when he lands in this space, is a wealth of knowledge and information, having been informed and made better for the journey. And so we're so glad to have him here. A quarter ago, back in January, can you believe it's already mid-April? This is just kind of surreal in a way. But the last time we got together, it was still kind of cold outside, and we're trying to figure out what's going to happen in the new year. We had a great conversation about the 250th anniversary of the United States, which from a point of perspective is becoming even more fascinating to me as we move forward from one day to the next. And we're going to pick up that conversation today. And I'm very glad we're going to do that because I think it's rather timely that we do that, especially with the focus that you all have chosen to kind of land on today, and that's the American Civil War. Many people have even, looked into the window of the past as they view the prism of the future, and they use words like, is America moving towards a new type of a civil war with the fragmentation in the nation and tribalism in ways, in political parties and more. This is a very interesting dynamic, sir, as we talk about this 250th anniversary. So again, I'm glad you're here to kind of walk us through this process, because otherwise I think we'd be in big trouble. So thank you for being here once again.
Thank you, Kenny. Good to be with you guys.
Yeah, let's start right there. Let's start. I want to share a few things with people, and I'm going to use this as a springboard, and I'm going to ask Captain Davis to just go in whatever direction he wants to go in once I give you the springboard. I never knew I would become the student of history that I've become, but I'm so grateful that I am. I mean, History Channel is one of my favorites. Of course, National Geographic is in there as well, and all the other folks that are just telling the stories of our history in a variety of different ways. The American Civil War is one of those things that I've studied. And I think it really happened when Ken Burns, it took Ken Burns, phenomenal documentary to really kind of draw me in. But that documentary was absolutely incredible. And I thought it was extraordinarily comprehensive, which I think was a credit to who he is as a person. But let me share this, and then I'm going to let Captain Davis just take it wherever he wants to take it this afternoon. This, of course, the American Civil War, 1861 to 1865. Abraham Lincoln, president of the United States during that time, transitioning a population of 4.5 million people, nearly 90% of whom were enslaved, from property to citizens. Before the war, slavery was legally protected, and African Americans lacked citizenship and voting rights. This systemic oppression was reflected in the nation's leadership, where 12 of the first 18 U.S. presidents were slave owners, with George Washington and Thomas Jefferson holding hundreds of enslaved people. African Americans were essential to the Union's victory, providing both combat power and labor. An estimated 200,000 African Americans served in the Union Army and Navy, making up 10% of the Army's total. They participated in over 400 battles. The casualty rate was high for any number of reasons. Of course, notable people came out of that particular experience. I've kind of set the table, Captain Davis. I'm now going to let you serve dinner.
All right. Kenny, thank you. That was a beautiful introduction. And what I wanted to, I guess, start off with is that the American Civil War is actually playing out all the way until today. We've never actually really gotten past the American Civil War. Okay. And I think you just may have heard in the news recently where we're discussing this birthright citizenship. The Supreme Court is actually entertaining that. And the birthright citizenship, which is part of the 14th Amendment, was one of those three amendments that resulted because of the Civil War. And, and it's important that we emphasize those three amendments, yes, because prior to the Civil War, the Supreme Court in the Dred Scott decision, which I believe we had discussed in one of our previous discussions, had indicated that African Americans were not citizens. And thus, white men were not bound to respect anything regarding Black folks. All right. So as I pointed out to Washington earlier, when we were having a preliminary discussion, that in my view, the American Civil War was the most seminal event in American history for African Americans. Because as you noted in your introduction, prior to the Civil War, the overwhelming majority of African Americans were enslaved people. You're looking at, out of roughly about 4.5 million Black people in America, 4 million were slaves and 500,000 was free. So this was a seminal event for us, okay? Those of us that are Black folks, that is, okay? So it's important that we understand how significant this event was and presently is, because without this Civil War, we would not have the freedoms that we have today, all right? Because there was a segment of America that was determined to keep us into slavery, and if they could keep us into second-class citizenship.
Mhm.
So when you look at discussions about birthright citizenship and whatnot, all of those discussions came out of the result of the Union winning the war.
Mhm.
Because if the Union had not won the war, there's a possibility we could still be enslaved people.
Mm.
Right?
Mm.
So it's important. And I do want to say for your audience that it's important that they understand that African Americans brought on the Civil War. Okay. The enslaved ones and the free ones was the reason why we ended up with a civil war, because African Americans were never happy with slavery. All right. And it was estimated that something like, on a yearly basis, something like 5,000 African Americans were running away from slavery a year. All right. Which is why you had to have laws like the 1850, where they had to pass a law in Congress that basically said that you had to return slaves and whatnot. So the thing is that we caused the war, and as I tell folks all the time, and it's just my personal opinion, and I think I'm pretty much on solid ground.
Mm-hmm.
We were the people that brought democracy to America.
Mm-hmm.
Every other group has benefited from, every other group that was not white men have benefited from the efforts that African American people have brought to make America a country of democracy. All right.
Yeah.
So the thing is, this war was crucial. You know, we played a big part. We participated in the war. All right. Not only as soldiers, but most importantly, maybe even as laborers. Because the thing is, the labor that we provided to the Union and the Confederacy, i.e. food production, building forts, building camps, all of this type of stuff was happening with free black labor. All right. And what I mean by free, not necessarily free people, but they've received the labor for free.
Yeah.
Okay.
The clarity in which you spoke about the reason for the Civil War, I think, is important and not to be overlooked, because oftentimes you still hear this argument about, the Civil War was about states' rights. And people keep insisting that they want to marginalize the notion of slavery being at the center of this conflict by deflecting to the conversation about states' rights. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, I would agree with them to some extent, because the state right they wanted was the state right to own black people. See, that was the state right that they wanted. Okay. The thing is that but you know, when you hear stuff about, well, you know, this thing may have been about tariffs and stuff like that. Yeah, I guess that was an issue to some extent. But the most important thing was that we had a segment of America that wanted to own black people and receive free labor, because the free labor that black folks were provided the economic stimulus for the country. Cotton in particular was the most important commodity that the American country had at the time of the Civil War. And that cotton was basically being produced by the labor of black folks. So, you know, and I would say this here, Kenny, you can't forget that even in the North, the shipping industry, the textile industry and all depended on that cotton, all right? As well as other products, whether it be corn, sugar, or whatever, tobacco, all of these things were being produced in southern states via free labor for black folks.
And, you know, Ken, I think about the movie Gone with the Wind. It was fiction, but they were fighting to preserve their way of life, luxury and ease. Jerome and I, Captain Davis, we were talking about Robert E. Lee. Lincoln offered him the command of the Northern Army at the beginning of the Civil War, but he said, I can't turn my hand against Virginia, because he was, as Jerome said, he was a slave owner. And they wanted to preserve, again, the lifestyle and treating blacks as basically property. And you mentioned earlier Dred Scott, and it's quite amazing, Kenny. We were at Oakwood University College, and Dred Scott was a slave there. And I did some research, and 5 of the 9 justices were slave owners themselves. And that's why the Chief Justice said, hey, you got a great case, but you're not a citizen.
Let me ask both of you this question, because we are in a time of moral conflict and war, where we're looking at so many things happening in our world and in our nation today. And Frederick Douglass, of course, made a very famous oratorical speech called For the Slave, What is the 4th of July? I wonder if this moment in time, this moment of inflection, calls for a similar question, perhaps. What to the Black is the 4th of July? As we approach the 250th celebration with this, I won't say a pronounced expectation, because there have been so many distractions. I believe that if there was a different situation, there'd be a lot of energy focused on that. People will be thinking about it, excited about moving towards it, just a few months away from it. But there's so much happening right now. And at the same time, we're hearing, but we want to celebrate the 250th anniversary and other things that are kind of like on the periphery of that. But how should Black people be approaching this particular moment?
Well, Kenny, if you ask my view, Black people should be approaching this particular moment with an understanding of how we got to where we got to. All right. The thing is that the 4th of July, when it initially started, had nothing to do with Black folks, other than the fact that we participated in freeing the country from England and getting the independence. All right. But then we were sold out. All right. You know, you can't forget that Black troops fought in the American Revolution. Black troops and sailors fought in the American Revolution, and then were essentially sold out, you know, when the war was over. All right. So the thing is that we have to understand that, but we also have to understand that we helped make this country. All right. We got solid ground to stand on, that we helped make this country, and we deserve the fruits of this country, despite the fact that there's others that are consistently working to deny us those fruits. You know, what we have to do is we have to stay vigilant and persistent on our right to all of the goods and services and benefits of America. All right, because we've earned that as a people. We have fought and participated in every war this country has participated in, and we've served honorably. All right, and that goes all the way up until today. So the thing is that we have nothing to apologize for, but we have a lot to be proud of. And as I stated earlier, we are the ones that were the major factors in bringing democracy to America. That 13th Amendment was driven by the fact that we had some conscientious white folks in Congress that understood that once we freed these freed Black people, that we had to first get rid of that sin. And then we had to do something with the 4.5 million people to correct what was pronounced in the Dred Scott decision, which was the 14th Amendment, which gave us citizenship. And then eventually we had to press to get a 15th Amendment so we could have the right to vote. And the 15th Amendment gave us the right for Black men to vote. And then I think it took, I believe the 19th Amendment, which gave women the right to vote. All right. But the thing is but think about it. All those additional rights coming all the way up until today with people with disabilities, people who, you know, the gay rights movement, all centered on the liberation, freedom movements that African Americans drove, and particularly for equality in America. All right. Everybody else that has achieved rights outside of white men have achieved their rights off the movement that African Americans essentially pushed and created.
You know, Ken, I think about Go ahead. I think about the 14th Amendment, which established birthright citizenship, declaring that all persons, both born or naturalized, are U.S. citizens. And it's amazing. After the Civil War, the current president of the United States is looking at making those changes, or attempting to erase, if possible, the 14th Amendment. So it's amazing how things are evolving as we're speaking right now, because I think the Supreme Court is scheduled to look at it in June or July to have a answer.
Yes, that's right. Because they discussed it a week or two ago, I believe. Now
Yes.
we're just sitting back waiting for their answer. The early indication is that the justices were favoring keeping it in place. But because of the uncertainty of these times, I am not saying it's a layup at this time.
Yes.
We have to watch and persevere to see where this process goes. I wanted to ask you in that same that same line of thinking and the continuity of the direction of so many things. I wanted to ask Captain Johnson. It was deeply disturbing to many people to see, and I refer to them as the occupant of 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, being identified as similar to Jesus Christ and suffering in the same way that he was made to suffer and die on the cross. And we are hearing these declarations about a national declaration that may come around the 250th anniversary of the nation regarding faith in America. We don't know what that means, but of course we think about this oftentimes through prophetic lenses. But even beyond that, I just wonder what your thoughts are. I mean, you are a licensed, ordained minister of the gospel of Jesus Christ. And I just wonder, what does this type of thing that's happening look like to you?
Hey, great question. Well, no one should be compared to our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. We all have feet of clay, born in sin, shapen in iniquity. I watched the clip, and I really do believe that, first of all, she was out of place. And secondly, for the president to accept that comparison, I'm not surprised, but I'm disappointed that religious leaders did not speak out against that. Mm-hmm. And secondly, America was not founded as a Christian nation. We accept all people. That's what religious liberty is all about. And when we start saying, oh, it's Protestants, and you have to think this way or look like the majority of society to be accepted, that's not the Christian way. Jesus came and he died. We just celebrate Easter. He rose he died for everybody. He rose that all of us would one day sit at the welcome table. And I'm trying not to preach, Jerome. I will preach. John said that the leaves of the tree are for the healing of the nations. The barriers in our nation that are attempting to come about is not God's will. I'm sorry, but no, she was wrong, and he was wrong for accepting that type of praise.
Let me say this real quick. Let me say this real quick, Captain Davis, to Captain Johnson's point. Wrong in accepting it. I immediately thought about a man named Nebuchadnezzar, who spent 7 years eating grass because of that same type of pompous attitude, believing that he was either equal to or higher than God. And I thought about all kinds of things. Every knee will bow, every tongue will confess. I thought about, crooked things going to be made straight. I mean, I'm like, how to put yourself in a place of even accepting that thought? I would have been the one. Anybody who compares me to Jesus Christ, I'm going to say, wait just a minute. I'm interrupting. No. I'm going to be rude in that moment. Mm-hmm. No, wait a minute. Don't ever compare me to Jesus.
I'm with you on that. Myself. No.
Yeah, don't do that to me. Go ahead, Captain Davis.
Well, you see, Kenny, the first thing I wanted to say is I don't think we have to worry about a proclamation, even though they may try to put one out there. The thing is, the Constitution actually forbids that. So the thing is that so you'd have so many lawsuits going on that. So the thing is that despite what the good reverend that spoke at the event threw out there, the thing is that I can't see it happening because it would be tied up in legal battles all over the place. All right. Now, with regards to whether or not someone actually of a immoral character is the person that they're talking about would ever believe that they they would represent or be symbolic of Jesus Christ, that means then your version of Jesus Christ must be the devil. All right. Because that's what you're talking about. The thing is, you can't look at that person and even come close to comparing them to Jesus Christ. That, you're talking about someone that has been accused of sexual assault and had to pay somebody $90 million. You're talking about someone that has a history of cheating people out of their money and contracts. You're talking about somebody that did an insurrection that killed police officers because they couldn't accept the fact that they lost an election. You had someone that has stolen classified documents from the American government, and let alone all the other, immoral and
unethical.
Unethical. That's what I was looking for. Unethical things that have been done.
Excuse me.
In order
I have
for you
to
to
say
come
it.
to that person, wait a minute, Johnson. Before you can come to that person, being a reflection of Jesus Christ, you'd have to believe that Jesus Christ, some kind of way, was a devil. All right, because you're talking about somebody that lies consistently. All right, and the thing is that so in order for you to come to that conclusion, that means you got a warped version of Jesus Christ. All right. Now the Jesus Christ that I read in the Bible, and through history, never did any of those things. All right. And was the opposite of those things. That person was a person of you must love thy neighbor. You don't necessarily go and have your neighbor brutalized and thrown out of the country and put in concentration camps. All right. That's not the Jesus Christ I'm familiar with. All right. Yeah. But again, we're talking about what those of us in the history, African American history profession understand is that you're talking about slave master religion. You see, this is slave master religion. See, I never forget a great female historian once told a story about the pastor, a slave master preacher was preaching to the slaves, and he pointed out thou should not commit adultery. So one of the slaves raised their hand and said, hey, preacher, what does adultery mean? And the preacher said, adultery means you're not to speak back to your master. You see, that's what we're talking about here. So you have to understand, slave master religion is different, all right? Slave master religion has justified evilness. It has justified raping women. It has justified enslaving people and selling their kids and their parents away from each other. All right. That's what you're looking at is the remnants of slave master religion that is still prevalent in this country. All right. And the thing is that so it's not surprising if you understand that to hear idiotic pronouncements like that, because those pronouncements are not based on any type of morality or fact. All right. They're actually based upon immorality. So the thing is that, but considering the Constitution, I don't think it's going anywhere. All right.
Yeah, we're gonna definitely be keeping eyes and ears open. There's a lot that's at play here. No one knows what's going to happen. It's very much in some ways like the neighborhood bully who pushes people around. It's kind of loud, obnoxious, overbearing until somebody comes and knocks him out. And nobody knows. And I think that this is from my self-care mental health perspective. To be overly preoccupied with worry and concern and anxiety is counterproductive. I have people that tell me every day, do you hear what happened today? And I'm thinking, well, just an hour ago, something else happened. And an hour later, something else is going to happen. If you're chasing everything that happened and it's going to happen, you're going to chase yourself into a stroke. You're going to chase yourself into an ulcer. You're going to chase yourself into a hospitalization that you may not recover from. And I'm just trying to help people understand that they need to pace themselves through turbulent times and keep their eyes and hearts fixed on Jesus. Captain Jerome Davis, Captain Washington Johnson, two of my favorite commentators on this broadcast. You guys just elevate my platform when you come on, and you can come on anytime. Like I said, I'm going to have to carve out a little spot for Captain Davis's name to be alongside Captain Johnson anytime.
Do it. Do it. Kenny, if you don't mind,
I'm good, Kenny. I'm good.
He's gonna be joining me, Kenny, going forward.
Good.
So we're doing it together. Jerome and I have been friends for many years, and we like to do it together.
Listen, you guys do it well, and I appreciate
Praise
it.
God.
The segment is Service and Valor. It's our opportunity to celebrate and honor the service of African Americans in the military. And this, of course, was an idea that was birthed through my conversations with Captain Johnson. Of course, we've been colleagues, friends for a long time.
Oh, yes.
Oakwood College.
Way to go, Oakwood. Way to go, Oakwood.
Good to see all of us still standing in this place. Guys, have a great afternoon, and I'll talk to you.
God bless you.
Yeah, God bless you, Kenny. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much.
It's always a good conversation with those guys, and they always bring a depth of knowledge and understanding to the table that I always value and appreciate. And I tell you, they will definitely trigger conversation that goes well beyond the conversation that we have on this broadcast. I have one final segment on my quarterly segments. This is one of my favorite segments. You know, Dr. Sims, I'm going to be honest and transparent because you're my friend. I've probably said that several times today, but this is really one of my favorite segments.
You just said that, but I know this is really your favorite. Right?
It is.
You know, for sure. How are you?
I'm doing great. This segment is called Drake State Presents Perspectives in Higher Education. I gave it that big word because I didn't want to miss anything. I want to make sure that we were all inclusive and all encompassing. And Dr. Sims has been aligned with this segment for a long time now. And once again, I welcome her to the broadcast as president of the great Drake State Community and Technical College and all of the ways that she leads in this community and beyond. Dr. Sims, it's always good to see you virtually and in person.
Absolutely. It's always great to be here. Ken, thank you for always providing space and creating an opportunity for us to share the amazing things that are happening at the college. And so this is one of my favorite segments too, just so you know.
Oh, thank you so much. I love that. I love that. And speaking of favorites, one of my favorite people in the whole wide world, I say that to him every time I see him and he sees me. Doug Brazier's here with us one more time. I think Doug liked it so much, he probably got with Dr. Sims and said, listen, anytime you come on that broadcast, I want in. And that's okay with me. He's the Dean of Workforce Development at Drake State Community and Technical College. Doug Brazier, my man, what's going on? I think you're on mute.
No.
Yeah, you just it should be just a little setting on the bottom near your name that says that. No, you're not muted there. Let me try Dr. Parks and let's let you take a look and see what you may need to log off and log back in. I'm not sure. Sometimes that does it and fixes the glitch. But Dr. Myron Parks is with us this afternoon. Dr. Parks, last time I saw you, we were over there celebrating teachers and student success and excellence. And you were in the room with all that great energy, making it happen. And it's good to see you one more time. He is the FAME coordinator. We're going to tell you what that means. He's also famous, but he's the FAME coordinator.
It's getting me there.
We're going to tell you all about what that is in a little bit, because that's a program that I'm excited about. I even referenced it the day I was there and talked about how valuable that program is to our community, to our academic institutions, and our students. And we'll get a chance to do that in just a moment. But while Doug is making his way back to us, 65th anniversary year for Drake State Community. Yes. Woohoo!
I know, right?
Let me see. I'm going to get something for you right here, right now. Let's see where. Oh, there it is.
I love it.
Okay.
We'll take it. We'll take it.
The drum roll as well. Okay. Get it all in here for you today.
I love it, Kenny.
Yeah, that's great.
This is exciting. Let me see. I see Doug came back. Let me see if he's ready. Doug?
How about now, Kenny?
Hey, there he is.
Okay. It's the whole headset thing and everything else. It wouldn't,
A little
It wouldn't be a
throwback
day in
for
the
the
life
show.
of Doug Brazier if I didn't mess up technology somehow. So,
As I said, Doug is the Dean of Workforce Development at Drake State. He's a very good friend. It's always good to see him in virtual space and in person. Doug, good to see you, my brother.
good to see you, my friend. I have to say, listen, it's always a pleasure to come on your radio show. But my favorite segment, I don't know if you remember this, Kenny, but years ago, me and Mike, my brother, came and we sat down and did a Thanksgiving special with you. And I think that was probably one of the most favorite times I've ever had on the radio.
Doug, I've got a photo of that moment. And where we were in the studio, and it was many years ago. And I remember being in there talking about what we were grateful for. You spent some time honoring your parents. I spent some time honoring mine. It was a very, very rich and productive discussion. So I remember it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I remember it. We go back a ways, my friend.
A long time. A long time.
That's good stuff. I
Absolutely.
love it.
Well, Doug, you got back just in time because we're celebrating 65 years of Drake State Community and Technical College. And Dr. Sims, this has to be exciting for you as the leader of this operation and moving it forward continuously with all kinds of good things. What does this moment in time mean for you?
Oh, it's so exciting. So, Kenny, you probably know the college was founded in April in 1961. It didn't actually start opening doors for classes until 62, but we're kicking off the celebration, and it is a great time with all that's happening. There's so much excitement, and so we have a series we'll be celebrating throughout the year. So lots of things will be happening on campus, and so we're just really excited to be in this moment, and we're really excited that we're prepared to meet this moment. So I'm really excited about this celebration, this year-long celebration.
You know, a year from now, you're going to have a chance to kind of look back and reflect on the journey. Celebrations are great, whether they're anniversaries, birthdays, we have them all the time. Mm-hmm. And we have a chance to experience it and then reflect on it. What do you hope to be some of the ways that you'll get a chance to reflect on what happens during this coming year?
So, my hope for the campus, Ken, so I hope a year from now, as I'm looking back in this moment, that I can see the progress that we're making as we expand our efforts to serve this community. Congressman Strong was on our campus this morning. That's a part of our celebrating, making sure that we touch bases with our local leaders to make sure that they understand the sense of urgency in investing in the campus right now as we prepare for all of the things that are happening and the growth that we're experiencing in our area. And so I'm hoping that indeed that we will actually see tangible results of the work, continue to see these. We've seen them, but I think now there's a call for a deeper investment because things are just unfolding so rapidly in our world and in our area. And so we need to be ready to, again, meet that moment. And we can't do that without telling our story effectively and getting the buy-in and support of our leaders. And so I hope to see the tangible results of those efforts in a year.
And Doug, Dr. Simpson's kind of giving you a little bit of a layup here. You can't miss this shot at all. So we're talking about the whole notion of work, and you're in the workforce development space, and students are coming to your space to be able to develop their skills and hone their craft and become better at what they do and perhaps change their lives. I think education in the higher education space has that capacity to be transformative because of special things that happen in that space. Talk to me about what you desire to be a part of your investment as a person leading that initiative over the next year.
Well, we have to be nimble. We have to meet the needs of the community and meet the needs of the workforce. So we got to be able to create programs that are going to affect positive change in somebody's life in the short term. And that's what we're doing as far as on the workforce side, is trying to create those really short term type programs, 8-10 weeks, where somebody can come in and learn a skill to take maybe that $15 an hour job to a $20 with nothing but growth in the future, and hopefully bring them back into the college, into the degree side as well. So having that ability is a heavy responsibility. I pray about it every day. Let me use this platform to affect positive change in the community. And here we're able to do that. Dr. Sims, she's a force to be reckoned with out in the community, and she's creating these opportunities. And I'm trying to go behind her and make sure that we're able to execute on what we need to do. And it's fun. It's never a dull moment.
Yeah. Dr. Parks, talk to me a little bit about the program that I've been excited about ever since I first learned about it at your sister institution when I was there, the FAME program. This program to me is the kind of transformative thing that students can be aligned with that can really, truly be game-changing in their lives. Talk to me about what this program is as the coordinator, because it is not a carefully guarded secret. That's not what we're going to call it. It's just that we haven't had enough people listen to what we have to say yet. So we inviting more people into the conversation today to hear about this amazing experience. Tell us what FAME is and what the potential is for students.
Oh, yeah, no problem. And if Dr. Sims threw Doug there a lob, you just threw me an alley-oop in the spirit of the madness. So, yeah, I'm really glad and excited to be a part of this program. And what you said about it being transformational for these young men and women is exactly that. These students come here, they're pursuing an associate's degree in mechatronics. They're going to end up with 1,800 hours of on-the-job training. They're going to end up with support from me on the Drake State side, the academic side, not to mention being sponsored by one of our industry partners on the employment side when they're, on their jobs. Not only mentorship, but in some cases, some of these industry partners are paying tuition. I have 3 students at Blue Origin that are making $26, $27 an hour with a semester completed through the program. I think I have another student at Mazda Toyota that's making in the mid-20s. So just what you said with regard to, and to kind of piggyback up on what Doug was saying, I tell these students within 2.5 years, they could be making anywhere from $33 to $35 an hour and have a career. They will have credentials that will allow for them to move anywhere they want to go. And they're not bound, by their sponsoring company to give them a 2-year commitment upon completion. 95% of these students, when they finish this program, are offered full-time employment. Once they're offered full-time employment, in some of these industries or these industry partners, they're making $42, $45 an hour before they're 25 years old. So
wow.
It is an incredible program.
Yeah, even more than game changing. I got to find a different word because that just takes you to the next level for sure.
Really
How does one qualify for this program?
There's 2 ways. We recruit traditional students right out of high school, and those students just need to make sure they have a 2.75 GPA and no lower than a B in Algebra 2 in English, or an 18 on their ACT in Math and English. But if they don't meet those 2 qualifications, all is not lost. The sooner they can get to me, the better, because we can prep them through the AccuPlacer. I've had several students, or maybe 3 or 4 of my current 10 in cohort 1 weren't qualified to start with, and they took the AccuPlacer study guide material that we provide, passed the AccuPlacer, met the qualification, and ended up interviewing, showing themselves well in the interview, and were selected. And then with non-traditional students, we have some veteran students that are transitioning out of the military that use their GI Bills to transition into, a career change. And if they've been out more than 5 years, their ACT is older than 5 years, they have to take the AccuPlacer. But when I speak of support in this program, we just don't throw them to the wolves. We have study guide material we provide. A lot of times I'll walk them right down to the testing center to schedule the test. And if I have enough time, I can usually get them qualified before interviews. Speaking of interviews, we just did last Thursday. So,
wow. I'm an academic at heart. It's like, it's been since 2013 that I was in higher education, but I've never lost the love for that space. And it's why, I'm still very much aligned with places like Drake and appreciate the opportunities to be there. And whether I'm invited into those spaces or not, I like the action that's taking place. And Dr. Parks, it has to be some point of privilege for you and pride to be in the situation where you can literally, by intention, create opportunities for students to achieve incredible success. And we're talking about people that may be first generation college students. We're talking about people who may be single parents. We're talking about people whose income may have never been able to break through that ceiling of whatever type that has been. I mean, you got to sit back in the space you're in and go, wow, from a point of humility, having such a tremendous opportunity.
Kenny, you are spot on that. And my background, I was in the military for about 7 years. I got out unexpectedly. I was 26 years old with no college and no career path. And so I had to kind of create my own fame, so to speak, to get where I'm at. And so when I'm talking to these young people in classrooms, or I'm talking to these non-traditional people or students, potential students that are working 2 jobs, trying to make ends meet, it's not necessarily, I'm closer to being able to relate to that than they actually know, because I've chewed some of that dirt. And, just as you said, it is a privilege and almost a calling to a certain degree, because for some of them, they're first generation. They don't know the hoops they got to jump through on the college side. They don't understand, what opportunities are available to them in this program. And to see that switch flip when they get in and then they complete a semester, and then I see them present their safety presentations after the first semester, and I see them growing into their careers and in becoming industrial maintenance technicians, and I know it's going to change the trajectory of their lives. So you are exactly right. It is a privilege, and I take it very seriously. Even the students that don't qualify, I tell them all the time, it doesn't mean that's the end of my relationship with you, because I have several other programs of studies in this building that I can, guide those students toward. And there are internships, externships, opportunities that may not be as cookie cutter and as prescriptive as FAME, but it still offers the same opportunities if they're, willing to make the sacrifice and do the work.
All right, so we've had a layup, we've had a alley-oop.
Yes, sir.
And now we're going to just do a slam dunk. We're just going to clean it up right here. I'm going to give each of you the opportunity for the slam dunk. And this is the question I'm going to ask each of you, starting with Dr. Sims. What does student success look like to you?
So, Kenny, that's interesting, because as I was listening to, I still get warm and fuzzy when I listen to my team talk about the work that they do and the passion that they have for this work. This is about changing lives. I mean, it really is a ministry. It really is. It's so good to be able to show, especially in this economy now, things feel so difficult for people in our community to know that there are still opportunities available for them. Like there's still a path forward, and to be able to offer that up to me, that's what this whole 65th celebration is about. We're going to press really hard to get this message out all across the community, because there are people who need to be connected to this institution, right? And I know wherever, and I say this all the time, wherever you are on this journey in life, there is a place for you at Drake State. There's a path forward. And so I am so excited and proud and blessed to be a part of this journey. So this 65th year is going to be amazing. I mean, I'm ready for it. And I have to just say, it's because of the people, it's because of the team. It's definitely not me. It's the team. It's the people who love this work right alongside with me.
Yeah, teamwork makes the dream work, and alignment keeps you on the road. So that's a good thing. Doug, what does student success look like to you?
Everybody comes to us with a story, right? Everybody's life circumstances are different. They're facing different challenges. They're facing different obstacles in their life. So being able to provide the different pathways that we provide from FAME with Dr. Parks, from the traditional credit side, with a regular college through the workforce, what we do, the short initiatives, just to get them maybe that first rung on the ladder. Student success is just helping people get to where they want to go. I mean, and that's a real hard question, Kenny. You said it's a slam dunk, but it is a very hard question because it's so layered and complex, because it's so much. Success is so different to everybody, right? What one person's success may be just getting, hey, a little bit extra time off, a different job so they can spend more time with their family. Somebody else's success may be getting in one of these programs and making 6 figures plus to start with after 2 years, right? It just depends on what they define as success. Whatever they define as success, if we can help them get there, then I'm happy. I'm happy with that.
Yeah, you actually said 2 very strong things in that challenging question there. You said, and I'll start with the last thing first. You said that success becomes what they define. For some people, it's going to be that I passed my first course, my first college course.
Absolutely.
And it's time to celebrate. Let's go to Cheesecake Factory and get something delicious to eat or something. Let's celebrate. And then the other thing is what one person sees as that may not be the same for everybody.
Absolutely.
So let it be what it is. And as I share with people, never define your life by somebody else's terms. Absolutely. Define it by your own terms. There's some people I know that it's going to take them a little bit longer than some others to get to the end game. There's some that are going to take a non-traditional path to that end game. I mean, it's all kinds of options out there. And I really am firmly convicted that at the beginning of one's journey, they need to know that and hear that, because so much pressure can be applied to people because of what they see happening around them. That student in class that doesn't come often but still gets A's, that kind of stuff that goes on and just blows people's minds. Like, I can't do that. And they're trying to do that. No, you need to be in class.
Right.
Don't do what they're doing. Do what you need to do.
Absolutely. Well said, Kenny. Well said.
Dr. Parks, I'm going to give you the last slam dunk. You're just going to bring it on home and March Madness will be over.
Yeah, that's right. Over the night. It'll be over the night. But I think student success is defined by me putting my best foot forward and making sure that my program is out on the forefront, that I'm clear, that we have opportunities for them to come to open houses, that they meet the instructor, that they come and see our facility, that they know where to come get information, that I get or build relationships with the career coaches. And then once I get those students close enough for me to be able to get them into the program, or even if they don't get in the program, they end up finding something here at Drake State that will change the trajectory of their lives. So to me, the biggest piece is getting them in here, building the relationship with them to figure out what they want to do, see where they fit, and continue until they end up with a short-term certificate like Doug mentioned, or maybe it's a 2-year degree, in whatever term that they define what that success looks like. I hope that I'm in a position to be able to help them to achieve it. All
right, let's have a little fun real quick. Not that we haven't been having fun. Drake State Community and Technical College, one word. Just one word. When I say Drake State Community and Technical College, you say, Dr. Sims?
Oh my goodness, I don't know. Come back to me.
Sure, come
back to me. Like
I got you, Dr. Sims. I got you. For me, it's going to be support.
Okay, support. Very good.
All right. Well, for me, it's going to be success.
Success. You see, Dr. Sims,
whatever that looks like.
For me, it looks like, right? You have an extraordinary staff right there. See that?
Right. All in them. See, they got me. That's all I do. It's the team. It's always the team. And I recognize that. Got to have good people. Yeah. And good friends like you, Kenny. Does work with our good community partners. So thank you, my friend.
There you go. Listen, 65 years and, the best is yet to come.
It's yet to come.
What is one thing on your sort of like wish list for Drake State, Dr. Sims?
So, Kenny, you've been to our campus, right? You've seen our beautiful new workforce training facility.
Yes.
I can see in my mind's eye, I can see our entire campus elevated to that level of modernization, so that I want an institution, a campus that this community can be proud of, and that students, when they step foot on this campus, they understand that this community has invested in them, and that this community has high expectations for them, that we are expecting something from them. And so that's my dream, that's my goal, that's my vision, that's why I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm certain.
Yeah, you know, the front facing of Drake from what it was to what it is today has been absolutely amazing. And I can actually, in my mind's eye, see what you're saying years down the line when people drive through there. Because now when people drive through there, they start seeing the advanced manufacturing building on the left. You know, you just got to kind of do a double take. It's like, whoa, you know. And then there's the library building sitting there. I mean, it's you got stuff happening right now that I think is really cultivated. An air of expectancy almost that, you know, what's Drake going to do next?
Well, we got some great things coming. We got some surprises coming. So we just stay, hang on. It's going to be an amazing year, Ken. It's going to be amazing.
I'm excited for you, Doug. What's on your wish list in the area of workforce development?
Just being able to provide what this community needs, right? I'll echo Dr. Sims, right? So we have some great facilities and we need to upgrade some of them, but being able to provide what we need to make everybody have a successful path, right? Have that path for them. And awareness is a big thing, because we're doing things too now in the workforce that people aren't used to us doing. So we're adding new things all the time. So I've got to create that awareness, and this is a big help in that, Kenny. We really appreciate your time and investment in us to help spread that word on Dr. Park's program and the things that we're doing and all the wonderful things that Dr. Sims is doing and has been doing in the community for a long time.
And I'm going to let Dr. Parks finish it up. Your wish list for fame and beyond.
Kenny, this is an easy one. When we first started this program, of course, students and equipment was on the forefront. We had to have those things along with an instructor. Now our next priority is to add employers to the chapter. The more employers that we have, obviously, the more sponsorships that we can have, the more students that we can have in the program. So we haven't, the recruitment window for students just ended on March 27th. So now we will turn our attention to employer recruitment and try to build the chapter so that we can offer more sponsorship opportunities for students in the future.
This has been such an amazing and inspiring conversation, and I am just always thrilled to be able to highlight Drake State and the perspectives that you have on higher education and the opportunities that are afforded to students who engage in that particular space. Dr. Sims, thank you as always for being part of this journey. Doug, thank you as always for being part of this journey and also for your friendship. Dr. Park, same. Thank you so much for this opportunity to learn more about your initiative and all your passion and heart for education, for students, and for something better. It's clear and evident in everything that you share. And if someone wants to learn more about Drake, perhaps consider Drake as an option, let's not end this conversation before we give them that opportunity. Who'll give them the information? Or is it several places? I know we've got.
Head over to our website, to drakestate.edu. There's a workforce tab there. They can learn about our workforce program. There's fame information. And so they can just call the college. They can call the college, or better yet, stop by, because there are a lot of people in our community that haven't had a chance to visit. And so we have people coming by all the time. So we really want our community to understand that we're open and we're available. So start at the website, give us a call, or show up. Just show up.
Can I give a little disclaimer? Be careful if you show up, because you may not want to leave.
Absolutely. Once you step on the campus, you're part of the Drake State family. We claim you for sure.
We'll get you in a program. Before you
there you go.
So good to talk to all of y'all, and I'll talk to you again soon.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kenny. Bye.
Take care now. What a great way to end the broadcast today, with a vibrant conversation with my friends from Drake State Community and Technical College about all the super stuff that's going on. 65th anniversary and the Workforce Development Initiative, the FAME program, and all the growth, excitement, and opportunities that exist there. We hope that you benefited from hearing all of that. I want to let you know that we had some pretty cool conversations today with people. I always like to thank the folk that have come on the air. Cathy Miller started things off with us with the United Way of Madison County. She, of course, is a community impact director over there, and we're grateful for that. Our Cadence Bank Presents with Rob McCall and Theresa Leslie featured our conversation with Theresa Leslie today, mortgage loan officer with the Community Development Lending Department. And, of course, we're changing that name now to Huntington National Bank. That was, like a rapid fire announcement that was done today that the bank's name has changed. And also joining her was Kim Blanding, the third vice president of the North Alabama Black Realtist Association. We appreciate her. And, of course, the captains, Washington Johnson and Jerome Davis, both retired, talking about the 250th anniversary of the United States in light of the Civil War and how Blacks should look at this particular intersection in our history. On next Sunday, we'll have a conversation with our What's Going On Social and Political Roundtable. My featured commentators will be Dr. Keith Burton, Dr. Leon Seard, and Dr. Noskeri Thomas. We look forward to having vibrant conversations at that time about some of the stuff that you're probably talking about. And we'll do that again next week at 2:00 p.m. Central Standard Time. In the meantime, I hope you have a great rest of the week. Remember, as always, knowledge is better than riches. Have a great day, and we'll talk again soon. Goodbye.
Thank you for tuning in to Second Chance. We hope that the information that was shared has been a blessing to you and that your life will be enriched as a result of it. We'd love to hear from you. So please send your email comments to Kenneth Anderson at mxlife@aol.com. That's mxlife@aol.com. And check out our Facebook page, 2ND Chance. That's 2ND Chance. In the meantime, have a great week, and we'll talk to you again next week. Good day.